there, welcome to High School Maths. Today we're going to be looking at angles and triangles, which is the second angle properties video we are going to be covering. So here we've got the three angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So your three corners of a triangle always add up to 180, and that's just a fact that you can use to work out other angles that are missing within the triangle. If we look at the first triangle we've got here, you can see it's a right angled triangle. Remember, this is your right angle, which means this is 90 degrees. This corner, or this angle, is 25 degrees, and this is the corner we want to find. We don't know what that one is. So we'll call that A, and A is just going to be 180 degrees for the full triangle, minus the 90, minus the 25. And that's all you're doing for your working for this same idea as the previous kind of angle questions we've covered. 180 for the full triangle, subtract the angles you know, and that'll give you the last remaining angle. So 180 minus 90 is 90, take away 25 would be 65 degrees. So our missing angle up here is 65 degrees. Over on the triangle on the right hand side, we've got two of the angles. We're just looking for this third missing angle, we'll call that B. B degrees, exact same type of working. We know two out of the three angles, so we're just going to take them away to get our answer. And again, with these questions, you could add the two angles together first and then subtract the answer. It is entirely up to you what you prefer, but I'm just going to go for this just to keep it a little bit consistent. So that's 52 degrees for our missing angle. And again, if we add the 52, the 51 and the 77, that should give us 180 degrees, which it does here. Okay. Now there are special types of triangles that you hopefully have heard of. We've got isosceles triangles, which we're going to cover here, and these are really common because they have really useful properties in terms of their angles. The key thing with an isosceles triangle is that two of the sides are the same length. And that's what these little lines here are denoting, that these two sides are exactly the same length. But in terms of angles, the angles at the end of these two lines, so this angle here and this angle here, are always the same. Now, if that means if this one is 65 degrees, then the bottom one is also 65. And if you look at the size of those angles, the size of those corners are about the same. This one is a slightly smaller corner than these ones, so we'd expect that angle to be a little bit smaller. That's the angle we're looking for. Again, once we've found our missing, once we have two out of the three angles, we just subtract from 180. So 180 minus 65 minus 65, and that leaves us with, so that's 50 degrees overall. So this angle here is 50 degrees. And if we added all three of them together, it would make 180. So the key thing with an isosceles triangle is two of the angles should always be the same, and it should be the ones at the end of the equal lines. So if we look here, this angle, here's our equal lines. This angle should be equal to this angle. Those lines are equal, those angles should be equal. Now here we only know one of the angles. We're going to start off the same way, but this is a little trickier. We know that these two have to be the same, but we don't know what's left over. Whatever's left over from the 180, we've got to share between these. So that's what we're going to figure out first. We're going to do 180 degrees, take away 40 degrees. And that gives us 140 degrees. So that means these two angles have to be 140 degrees. Now, because they're both the same, we can split that. So 140 divided by 2, split between the two angles, is 70 degrees each. So that's 70 in there and 70 in there. And if we add them together now, that gives us our 180 degrees altogether. Now, triangles can be mixed in with some of the other angle properties we've looked at. So that's what we're going to do here. We've got some diagrams and we just want to find out as many missing angles as we can. The key thing is finding out your starting point. You want to start where you've kind of got the most information usually, but you just kind of have to work with what you've got. So here, if we look at the first shape, we've got 56 degrees in here for this corner. We know that that's 90 degrees, and we don't know this angle. Ignore this kind of sticking out line just now. We're just focusing on the triangle. Okay. To find this missing angle, the three corners, remember, of a triangle add up to 180. So we're going to do 180 minus 90 for the right angle minus 56 degrees. Okay, once we've got that, that gives us this corner of the triangle here. Okay, so 180 minus 90 minus 56 would be 34 degrees. So that corner in there is 34 degrees. And we can fill that into the diagram, and that kind of starts us on our journey to completing the diagram. This, however, leads on to the next one, because we've actually got another missing angle from here to here. Now, if we just ignore the rest of the diagram, okay, what I'll do is I'll bring in a little box, and if we just ignore what we've got there, okay, so let's say we just blank that out. Now, this is just a straight line angle. Okay, we've got a straight line along the bottom, and it's just been split into two corners, this one and this one. So all we have to do is 180 take away 34, and that'll tell us what this angle here is. Now, when you kind of focus on the whole picture, it's harder to see that, but when you cover up and just focus on the little angles, the angles you're looking at, it's a lot easier to focus on what you want to do. So take that away, and for this part, for this angle here, we're doing 180 take away 34 degrees, and that should give you 146 degrees for that angle there. Same idea with the second, same idea with the second shape we've got over here. We want to kind of figure out, what as many missing angles as we can. Now, we've got a special triangle to start off with. You'll notice that all three sides have that little line through them. That means all three sides are equal, which means it's an equilateral triangle. Now, if all three sides are equal, all three angles are equal as well. So what we do is we take the 180 degrees, which is the three corners, and we split it three ways. Remember, split means divide, so that's 60 degrees for each angle. So this is 60. And you'll notice every time I find a new angle, I draw it into my diagram. That helps a lot, because you're kind of building it like Lego. Once you put the first angles in, you're building on them to get the next angles. Now, we've got three of the angles, so that's a really good start. What we want to look at next is how can we kind of build along. Now here, if we look, we've got a perfect straight line here. This corner is 60, and this corner has got to add up to 180. So 60 and what gives you 180? Well, what we would do for that is 180 minus 60, and that's 120 degrees. Okay, again, if you just cover up the extra parts of the diagram and focus on the straight line, that makes it a little bit easier. So those two angles make a straight line, those two corners make a straight line. That's got to add up to 180, that's 120. Now we're going to focus on this triangle on the left hand side. And on a triangle, we know a triangle adds up to 180. So for the triangle, or for this angle here, that corner, this corner, and this corner, the three corners have to add up to 180. We're going to do 180 minus 120 minus 25. Okay, and that should give you 35 degrees for this angle here. All the three corners of the triangle should add up to 180, and they do. And finally, we're going to move on to this last part here. Again, if I bring my box, try and cover up as much as I can. Here, you can see that this is just a straight line. Let's take the box away. So this corner and this corner have got to add up to 180 to make that perfect straight line there. So again, here, what we're doing is 180 minus 35 degrees. And that's going to leave us 145 degrees for our final missing angle. Okay. Now, that's quite a lot of information to take in, but the key idea is that you're gradually doing it one part at a time, because angle properties can actually get really complicated. So you want to focus on just one bit and not the whole picture. Do one little bit at a time, and you should find it gradually builds up to the final answer. Okay, hopefully you found that useful. For other maths videos and resources, please visit highschoolmaths.co.uk, and if you liked the video, click the like button and subscribe, and please remember and share the video. Thanks for watching, and have a mathemagical day.